Long before highways, there were rivers. They were the first arteries of civilization, carrying cargoes of food, faith, and power. Imagine the dawn 5,000 years ago. A farmer presses seed into the Nile's wet silt. Here, predictable floods created surplus, and surplus gave rise to markets, walls, and rulers. The paths from these riverbanks widened, forging the first routes between cities, pathways of trade, and the very roots of our shared story. Along the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Indus, new tools emerged, not of bronze, but of belief. Written laws defined justice, stamped coins quantified trust, and great faiths, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, offered a radical new idea that stories and shared compassion could bind strangers into a single community. This was the invisible architecture of empire. Shared meaning, amplified by the written word, allowed rulers to govern vast realms not with constant force, but with common purpose. Soon, the entire world was woven together by creaking caravans and groaning hulls. Across the Silk Roads and the Indian Ocean, spices, textiles, and ideas moved as freely as the wind. But these networks carried more than wealth. They also carried pathogens. The Black Death traveled on the same ships as silk, uprooting millions and forever changing the balance of power. Yet from this devastation, a new world was born. New forms of finance, stronger states, and a restless curiosity. Around the year 1400, European mariners, armed with new charts and iron cannons, turned their sails toward the vast Atlantic. They were not just explorers, they were the agents of a collision of worlds. The Columbian Exchange forever remixed the globe's ecology. Maize and potatoes fueled population booms in the Old World, while horses and deadly microbes reshaped the Americas. It was a world knit together by trade, conquest, and the brutal engine of plantation slavery, a web of connection growing ever tighter, pulling humanity toward a new dawn of steam and steel. In the 19th century, the air itself grew thick with change. In a Manchester mill, the distant descendant of that Nile farmer wipes oil from her palms. The clatter of looms and the hiss of steam are the sounds of a new era, powered by fossil fuels and limitless credit. In a cheap pamphlet, she reads of revolution, that chains must fall, wages must rise, and women must vote. As empires chased profits across the globe, resistance answered with strikes and uprisings. Then, in 1914, the world's certainties were shattered in the mud of the trenches. The 20th century became an age of extremes, of bureaucratic mass murder in the Holocaust, and of revolutions in Russia and China that promised new worlds at a staggering human cost. After 1945, colonies across 3 continents demanded their freedom. But did the age of empires truly end, or did it simply change its uniform? In our time, the web has pulled tighter still. After 1991, global markets and digital networks fused the planet. A voice can now cross oceans in an instant, but so can a virus. The warming of our atmosphere reflects the fuel choices we have made for generations. The forces of history are not distant echoes. They are in the news on your screen, the origin of the food on your table, and the silent code shaping your future. The currents of the past are flowing into our present. To navigate what comes next, we must first understand the journey that brought us here.